Whatever your thoughts on the mainline WWE product these days, it's safe to say that they don't always make the best use of their best wrestlers. Finn Balor, he's currently a smiley jobber to the stars. Shinsuke Nakamura's heel turn started promisingly, but the AJ Styles feud quickly ran out of steam. And speaking of AJ, while he's obviously an excellent wrestler, he himself is having a pretty mediocre year too. For criteria, it's simple. We're looking at all-round impact, which includes in-ring ability, character work, promos, push, and a few intangibles. Just remember that it's all subjective. One man's trash is another man's treasure, so let's not get too carried away. But enough of that. I'm Andy for What Culture Wrestling, and here are the 8 best WWE wrestlers of 2018 so far.
But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to stay notified. Ding, ding, done.
Number 8. Daniel Bryan. The fact that Bryan has only been active for a couple of months but still earns a place on this list is very telling. But while his creative direction hasn't been perfect, Daniel himself has been excellent. His comeback was an awesome story and it made for a fun WrestleMania moment. On top of this, he's become a reliable source of good to great TV matches on SmackDown, with his recent turn against Big E in the Big Gauntlet match a particular highlight. It remains to be seen whether or not Bryan will actually stick around with the company beyond September, which is when his contract expires. But if he does, we can only hope that the company give him a little bit more to do, even though Bryan has held nothing back. Number 7. Samoa Joe. His athleticism might be in decline, but for my money, there's no better promo in WWE than Samoa Joe at the moment, whose believability and menace place him head and shoulders above every other heel. As far as matches go, he had a banger with Roman Reigns on New Year's Day, and he was great in that 4-way match at the Greatest Royal Rumble. But that being said, if we're being honest here, his biggest match against Reigns again at Backlash didn't quite deliver. Still, how can you not buy into his character? Joe's awesome, and it'd be great to see him get a run with the belt before the year ends. Number 6. Alexa Bliss. Any problems that Alexa Bliss has come across this year have come from the creative team, because frankly, she's been great. As well as being one of Raw's best heels, she remains the women's division's most three-dimensional character. That Elimination Chamber promo where she made herself cry to draw sympathy from the crowd, then flipped it right around, spinning it back on them, was absolute genius and something very few could have pulled off. A few eyebrows were raised when Bliss won the Money in the Bank briefcase, then cashed it in on Nia Jax later in the evening, but with Bayley and Sasha Banks lagging at the moment, who else would you want leading the Raw division? Number 5. Elias. The big man isn't exactly the best wrestler on the roster, that's for sure, but he's average at worst, and the other aspects of his performance are so strong that he more than earns his place on our list. He's a master of crowd control, a tremendous heel, and his in-ring sing-along sessions always hit the mark. Frankly, it's hard to think of a wrestler who's more in tune with their own gimmick than the Drifter. WWE and Elias are nailing every aspect of his presentation at the moment. He's an absolute gem of a performer, and all this from a guy who was borderline unwatchable back in NXT. Remarkable. Number 4. The Miz. It's time to stop fannying around and acknowledge The Miz for what he is, one of the most complete performers of his generation. He breathes excellence, the promos are among the best in the company, the character is sublime, and the matches, long considered his biggest Achilles heel, are now on the same level. It's no coincidence that fellow 2018 standout Seth Rollins had his best match of 2018 with The Miz. Whether he's goading Daniel Bryan or starring in big pay-per-view bouts, everything he touches is magic, but it would be nice to see him with gold around his waist again before long. Number 3. Braun Strowman. Yes, I know, the Nicholas situation was problematic, but the important thing is that Braun survived it. He's one of the few guys on the roster who actually seems immune to WWE's bullshit creative, and just when it looked like he was losing a little bit of momentum there, the company turned it around, gave him the Money in the Bank briefcase, and bang, he's the hottest thing on Raw once again. From crushing everything in the Elimination Chamber to winning the Greatest Royal Rumble and the Money in the Bank briefcase, Braun has established himself as WWE's most must-see spectacle, and he's probably going to end Brock Lesnar's terrible reign as Universal Champion as well. Cool. Number 2, Seth Rollins. Now this fella's always been popular, but bloody hell, what a year! For my money, no other WWE performer has as many great matches under his belt in 2018 as Seth Rollins, with his bouts against The Miz and Finn Balor standing out in particular. On top of this, he's now more over than at any other point in his WWE career. Just listen to the reaction that goofy burn it down thing gets every single time. It's incredible. We can only hope that this streak goes on as the year continues, because Rollins has easily been the best thing between the ropes on the main roster all year. And at number 1, Ronda Rousey. Now this isn't going to be a popular choice. Ronda's only had 2 WWE matches after all, and there were some inconsistencies in her early angles. But let's break it down. WrestleMania 34 was unreal. Ronda showed better timing and ring presence than some wrestlers who've been in this business for a decade, and it was her first bloody match. Yes, it was well laid out, and yeah, they probably rehearsed it to death, but that's splitting hairs. When has anyone ever looked so good in their very first wrestling match? Then, Rousey somehow followed it up by accomplishing the minor miracle of dragging Nia Jax to the best match of her main roster run so far. That match should have bombed, but it didn't. You've got to credit Ronda for that. Throw her ever-improving character and microphone work into the mix, along with that awesome segment a few weeks ago when she beat down Alexa Bliss and Kurt Angle, and you have the most natural crossover star in wrestling history, who may just be in the midst of the most successful rookie year we've seen in decades. That sounds like number 1 to me. So that's our list, but which WWE wrestlers have stood out the most to you in 2018? Go ahead and let us know in the comments section below, and go ahead and shout at me for not including AJ Styles, Finn Balor, and all your faves. Once you've done that, why not head over to whatculture.com/WWE and check out some great articles written by the likes of Jamie Kennedy, Michael Sidgwick, and Michael Hamflett. You'll have a great time. We're uncorking all kinds of weapons grade content all day long, so check it out. And once you've done that, of course, like, share, and subscribe. I've been Andy, and I'll see you later.